Today we're going to talk about how to deal with pins and figure out how they work. So we're going to learn how to do pin debugging. So I'm going to concentrate today on auxiliary 3 pins over here, and I'm going to review for you real quick what these pins are according to the pinout diagram that we have access to by Googling it online. The first pin here is digital pin 49. The next is digital pin 51. The next after that is digital pin 53. And then this one says NC, which probably means no change. This one is 5 volts. This one is digital pin 50. And this is digital pin 52. And then the very last one is ground. So in order to check the pins to make sure that they're working, what we're going to do is we're going to attach to digital pin 49 a little lead with a jumper. So it's female on one end and male on the other. And then we're going to use a multimeter over here to see what the voltage is. So in a moment I'm going to connect the USB serial cable to the MKS Gen L. And you're going to hear a beep for the connection because the other end's in the computer. So the beep just happened. And in a second I'll show you how to modify the Marlin firmware so we can troubleshoot the pin. Okay, what we're going to do first is we're going to open up the Marlin-bugfix-1.1.9_bugfix. We're going to go to the Marlin subfolder. We're going to hit B on the keyboard to get us to boards.h, and we're going to open this up. In boards.h, we're going to search on MKS for our board type. And as you can see down here, we have a bunch of MKS boards to choose from. The one that we're going to be working with is board_MKS_Gen L. So we're going to make a copy of that. We're going to close out of here. We're then going to press M on the keyboard and open up the marlin.ino folder, or excuse me, file. Okay, now that we're inside the Arduino IDE for Marlin.ino, we're going to go to the configuration.h tab and we're going to do a search on motherboard. And we're going to replace board_ramps_14_EFB with what we copied from the boards.h file and pasted here. And so now it's board_MKS_Gen L. Next thing we want to do is we want to go to the configuration_adv.h, which stands for configuration advanced.h. And we're going to do a search on pins_debug. And we're going to hit enter. And as you can see, we have define pins_debugging, and it's commented out, so we need to remove the comments. And the next thing we do is we want to load the board. So what we need to do is make sure we have the right chipset, which is the Mega 2560 chipset for the board, and that we have a port selected, which is COM port 11. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the compile and upload button with the upload button. And in a moment, I'll show you in Pronterface and with a multimeter how to test the pin. Okay, we're going to open up the Pronterface.exe. We're going to connect to the MKS Gen L board. And as you can see, we have a good connection. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to check the pin that we currently have in its state that's unchanged. So I'm going to use a multimeter. So in a moment I'll take the multimeter and check. Okay, the first thing we want to do is turn on the multimeter. So we need to turn it to direct current, and the pin that we have picked is digital pin 49 over here. So we're going to take the jumper and we're going to measure with our red lead over here, and the other lead is going to come around and touch the top of the USB port. And as you can see, the direct current says 0.882, and what that means is it's basically 0. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to Pronterface, and we're going to give the pin 5 volts of charge. So here we go. Okay, in Pronterface, we're going to type M42 space P, and the pin is 49, so P is for pin in this case, space S, and this is going to be the amount of charge that we're going to give it, so we're going to say 255, which equates to 5 volts of power, and we're going to press enter. Now we're going to go back over to the multimeter and measure it. Okay, so we're going to place the red lead on the extension for pin 49, and we're going to put the black lead, being the ground, on the outside of the USB port. And as you can see, it's 4.76 volts, which is essentially 5 volts. So that's how you check that. Now let's make sure that we can bring it back to a 0 state or near 0 state. So in Pronterface, we're going to go back and we're going to take the M42 space P49 for the pin and S255, and we're going to change the 255 to 0 and press enter. Now we're going to go back to the multimeter and check it. So we're going to put the voltage lead on the extension for digital pin 49 and the ground lead on the outside of the USB, and as you can see, it says 0. So if you like my video, please press the like button and subscribe, and thank you for your time.